Alphabet Man, tearing down the strongholds, exposing the darkness, wrecking the enemy's plans. Endurance till the end. It's time for the Alphabet Man Live.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Coming to you live from Iowa. Before I turn the show over to Tom is going to host this morning, and I'm going to sit back and I'm going to enjoy the show. But I just wanted to say that I am amazed at what I've seen in Iowa. When I was here to speak before, I said, hey, guess what? There's something going on in Iowa, because I saw some intense intimacy and just some fellowship that is pretty phenomenal. So I get here, and Saturday morning, I got here at 9 a.m. and all day, all night long, we fellowshipped, and then it didn't end until after midnight. People came, people went. A brother came and didn't even know I was going to be here. Didn't know who I was, didn't know my testimony. He shows up first time. He shares. There's a connection. There's a bond. His son has went through the same things I went through and is enduring a whole lot of stuff right now. And so that was all God, and God kind of ordained all types of things this entire weekend. Yesterday, you get to church at 9:30 a.m. and you don't leave the building till after 6 p.m. because of the fellowship. And you don't even know the time is going by like it is, but you just know that you're blessed, and you know that you don't want it to end, and you know that this is what you want all the time, this type of fellowship, this intimacy. And then I was blessed to go see the venue that Tom and I will be up here May 11th. And I was blessed to see the Gateway Church in Oskaloosa, Iowa, and see this beautiful this auditorium holds like 750 people. The screen is bigger than like 2 movie theater screens, and it's going to be amazing. And so we have some plans to have a dinner for pastors before the event, so that we can kind of let them know this is to empower you, and this is to give Jesus all the glory. So
I just got goosebumps, David. I just got goosebumps. That's an amazing idea. A dinner for pastors.
Yeah, and that's it.
Amazing.
So Danny, the Iowa Huddle, is going to reach out to all of the churches. They're going to reach out to all of the pastors, and they're going to invite all of them individually, instead of just saying, hey, can we put a flyer up for your congregation, and oh yeah, you can come too. Instead of just dogging them out and pushing them to the side like they're not important, is empowering them and saying, hey, we want you. It's Craig Fawcett, y'all. So we were going to say, we want you to come. We want you. We want to make this about you, because you're pastors. You have flocks to tend to. You have congregations. You have some authority, and we want this to be about you. So if we make it about them, and it is about them, it's just going to be amazing, because the pastors are going to feel like they're actually being invited as a part of something, and that they're going to play a key role, because all of their opinion, all of their ideas are going to matter. How they think they should go about it, as long as it's the truth, then that's what matters. And so the Iowa Huddle is going to reach out to all of the churches and the pastors, and they're going to make it about them. They're going to make it that we empower the pastors, that we empower the church, and that we don't just tear it down and knock it to the side like it's not important or like it's irrelevant. So that's what we're going to do. And so we're going to have the dinner before the event just for pastors. And so Tom, you and I, we're going to have dinner and conversation, and get to do maybe a Q&A before the event, And then after the event, after with the film showing, then we're going to do a Q&A again with the audience, whoever comes to show up. So, and we may be at that point, we may be ready to say, hey, well, you know what? Pastor so-and-so said that he will do this once a week or once a month. He will have this. He will have a training course. He'll have a program. He'll have something at his congregation. You know, and so everybody kind of gets involved, and it's going to give the Iowa Huddle time too, to let them know that this is who we are. We are not a denomination. We want everybody to be a part of the Iowa Huddle. We have many different denominations. We're not separated on doctrinal or theological issues, because we all remain in the truth of Jesus Christ being fully God, fully man. You know, came here, propitiation, all that good stuff, died for each of us, died for our past sins. And I had to put that in there. So let me say this, guys. May 11th, if you can get to Oskaloosa, Iowa, Jared, if you can pull up Gateway Nazarene Church and just show up, actually, let me email it to you, because you may not find the, well, you may find it. Oskaloosa, Iowa. That's it. And so this is the new venue, the facility. It's beautiful. Yeah, Unspoken's going to be there next month. I actually know the lead singer of Unspoken's dad. He's a friend of mine. He lives in Ellsworth, Maine, and he's a pastor of the Ellsworth Assemblies of God. But I'm going to turn this over to Tom Dunn, because Tom Dunn is hosting the show today, and I am sitting back to enjoy the show.
Wow, Iowa Huddle. I'm amazed. This is exciting. Somebody asked, Rob Pugh asked, when are the DVDs shipping out? As soon as I get them in my hands, I have the packages ready to go. I have the addresses on them, and as soon as I get the DVDs in my hand, they will be shipping out. They went into production last week. It takes about 3 weeks, but they're not guaranteed in 3 weeks. So we're just soon as we get them, I'm going to track them. I'll have an update probably here in a few days, maybe, to get an idea of where the production's at. You can follow along on the website, and it tells you what parts of the production they've done. They made the DVD, they made the packaging, all that stuff. So yeah, anyway, the film is available for pre-order. It has been for a while. There's only a few orders left. If you want to get the free book, The Emperor's New Gender, there's only a few more of those. And the first 100 orders get those books. And you're also going to get an extra DVD that's going to come in an envelope so you can loan it out. Because a lot of times when you loan out a film, people don't give it back. So anyway, and then we're doing this limited time two for the price of 30. And if you get that package too, you also get the extra DVD, and you also get the book also. If you go to fireandbrimstonefilm.com, you can see all that. And I also have some other packages on the store at throughtheblack.com. So guys, David and I went on a road trip last summer, and we filmed this thing, and he went and bared his soul, and he showed me the things that he had been talking about and telling you about. And I met the people in his life. I met his brother, Lee, R.I.P., and I met his mother, and I met his cousins, and we went to the places, and it was an intense time. It was an emotional time for David, and it was an experience for me. And how many times have I got to do that as a filmmaker, go with somebody to the scene of the crime, so to speak, and see where these horrific things happened. So it's intense. And not only that, and you'll see this in the film, as we were there, God opened up doors to minister. David said, this is the ground that I used to walk. This is the alley I used to go down. And we'd go down the alley, and we turn, and there's a guy, there's a transgender man. And, got it all on film except for the man sitting there. And David said, can I talk to you for a minute? And he got to witness to him and share the gospel with him. And what an amazing example is in the film. And we made a weapon. That's why, it's a tool, it's a weapon. And what's going on in Iowa in May is going to be a great example of how to use that weapon. And I hope it happens a lot more. A lot of people are always asking, what can I do? What can I do? Can I help you here? Can I help you here? Here's a great opportunity for people to get involved. Do a showing of the film. I don't care if you do it in your church or if you do it in your basement or your living room or somewhere. Do a showing of the film and get it out. If you want to loan it to your neighbor or somebody like that, I'm telling you what, people are not going to like this film. The left is not going to like this film. And the church may not like this film. But we had to be obedient to God, to tell the truth, to share the gospel, to expose the darkness, and to reveal the scars. So, regardless, and not only that, there is a, there's a good portion of the film dedicated to, exposing the agenda going after our children. So I want to, Jared, I want to talk about Occupy real quick. So this is coming up, and David and I are both going to be there in Canton, along with Coach Dave, along with Dr. Captain Mike Spalding, along with a guy by the name of Bradley Lee. And if you don't know who Bradley Lee is, this guy is amazing. He blew my mind. Yeah, go on down there, Jared, if you can. John Diamond. Mark Trump is going to be there. Mark, which is not a surprise. Mark Trump is like everywhere. Coach Dave said himself, the man of the hour, Russ Dizdar, is going to be there speaking several different times. Of course, Coach is going to be there. I miss Chad Estes. Mark Harrington, my daughter's boss, is going to be there. I think one of the best pro-life teachers, leaders in America. This guy is just aggressively teaching kids how to defend life. And I think his model can be copied and used in other places. And that's why Coach likes him so much. So anyway, hey, speaking of that, I sent you a link for a little video. Jared, do you have that? Yeah, go ahead and play that video. Here's an example. And let me set this up real quick. Here's a bunch of kids censoring the pro-life signs that expose the victims and show the victims. This is real short, but I love showcasing this stuff because Created Equal does such good work. And these guys are censoring this. These guys are actually, if you were to ask them, hey, we're against Nazis, but they're doing the behavior of the Nazis, censorship, covering up the truth. And Seth, who's in my film, actually, if anybody doesn't know, he's in a film that I did called This Is a War. Seth is there, and he confronts him on his censorship and his hypocrisy. So go ahead and play this, Jared. And it's okay, we got no sound, but.
Hi, what do you think about censorship? Censorship? It's what's going on right now.
Pretty gross pictures.
So you think we should censor gross things?
I don't really know, man.
I mean, 8th grade, they showed us pictures of the concentration camps. The reason they took those photos, actually, because Eisenhower said people won't believe it unless we have photographic evidence. Took the photos, they showed kids in middle school like me.
But it's weird that in middle school we don't see the pictures of all the Japanese and internment camps in the United States and how many died there.
You don't like that they censored it?
Yeah.
But you're doing the same thing, you're censoring what's happening now.
But the difference between my censorship and governmental censorship is that I could take this down at any point if somebody would ask me.
Sure. Would you take it down? Okay, I called your bluff, though. You're not going to take it down.
Okay, there we go. So this guy is upset that the concentration camps or the government internment camps for the Japanese during World War II were not shown to him in history books. He's upset that that was censored. But what is he doing standing there censoring a sign that shows the mutilated body of a dead baby? Unbelievable. Unbelievable. I wonder, I hope that guy went home that night and rethought his life. I really do. I really do. You know? Oh my goodness. So anyway, I lost my whole train of thought. Created Equal. Okay. Let's go ahead and maybe maybe David will jump in on it in some of this stuff because it's all relevant. John Wedger, let me tell you about this guy real quick. If you get ready about the 17 mark, Jared, of this video, I came across this the other day. I'm doing research for my talk for Occupy. Okay, Coach asked me to speak on human trafficking, and I started looking at human trafficking, and I started looking at statistics and news stories and all kinds of research, and people are giving me tools and sending me books. And one of the things that I'm finding out, I know this, I live this, I teach this, I research this, but I still get frustrated with it, and I still try to find another answer. One of the things that I'm finding out that I already knew, but it's getting confirmed, is that the government is complicit in human trafficking and child trafficking. It's insane to have to say this, that there are rich people, politicians, elite, whatever, bankers, movie stars, that for some reason love the rape and destruction of children. This is nothing new. We know about this. We know about this. If we look to God's word, we see this. We think, I think of Pharaoh, putting the call out to kill all of the male babies before a certain age. And we see Herod do the same thing, trying to interrupt God's plan. So here we have a whistleblower. Okay, this is in the UK. And when I was over in the UK, you go to the mall. Okay, it's a mall just like any mall in America, has some of the same stores, but they have giant posters. Like, think of a movie poster and then like double the size of that in the mall in several different places about Scotland's missing children. And I'm like, man, that's kind of weird to have a poster like that. And we took pictures of the posters. We didn't think a lot about it because we were just moving and we were getting the evidence and moving on. But Scotland and England, they're on an island. Okay, it's almost like a controlled experiment or a controlled environment over there. Where in the world are the kids going? Where in the world are they going? They have an epidemic of missing kids in Scotland. When I was out on the streets of Dundee in Scotland, I saw kids walking up and down the streets, before and after school. And I thought, what in the world is going on? I mean, we see that here in America, and we don't, even though we know there's a threat out there, we're not as cautious as we should be. Okay. So I see these kids walking up and down the street, and I'm seeing the big gigantic posters in the mall, and I'm like, where are all these kids going? There's not a whole lot of places where they can take these kids and hide. What's going on? So here is a guy by the name of John Wedger who worked for the London Police Department, and he had, different skills and different training and stuff. And they asked him to take a look at a case. Okay. And we're going to play this video here in a minute and just get an idea of some of the stuff that he experienced. His accent is, it's a strong British accent, so we might have a little bit of trouble understanding, but we're going to watch a few minutes of this. So he got real good at catching pedophiles. He got really good at it. So good that the higher ups sent word down, stop this guy. He's too good at his job. And then they moved him to another spot. So guys, I cannot recommend this testimony enough. And I was trying to find a good clip this morning and I couldn't find it. So if you see the title at the bottom, I recommend go back and watch the whole thing. It's probably a little bit over an hour long. It's John Wedger, police whistleblower on child abuse in the UK. Guys, this connects to David's testimony. This connects to the stuff that I do and so much more, okay? It connects to drug trafficking. There's a demand for drugs because one of the reasons is because there's so much sexual abuse all of these people, all these kids have been sexually abused, are trying to kill the pain. Go ahead and play it, Jared.
In a week, then you'll be the top team. And so that's all it was doing. It's a big number crunching exercise. And one day I found a young girl in a red light area in a central part of London. And she was clearly loitering, and she was off her head on crack cocaine. She was 14, and she was underweight and under height due to her lifestyle. And I took her in to police protective custody, and I was told get rid of her because she had scabies. The car would need fumigating. If I took her back to the secure room, she would have to be monitored, and then they'd have to fumigate the room, and then it would take the car off the road, and then their figures would be altered. They wouldn't get the quota that they wanted. So I was told, next time you see her or any others, just ignore them, tell them to F off. And this was how they dealt with it. So I then was asked to look into an allegation made by a 14-year-old girl that she was working as a prostitute. And I'm going to give you her name because she's dead now, and it's an absolute tragedy. Her name was Zoe. And like a lot of these children that are involved in that lifestyle, and I'm not denigrating anyone because I've dedicated my time and my passion and my love for them, you know, but they're horrors. You see these books on child abuse, there's a picture of this angelic little kid. They're not like that on the whole. These are kids that are tough. These are kids that can be vile. They don't want nothing to do with you. They will spit at you, they will swear at you. They really are a nightmare, but understandably. And this girl, she'd made allegations in the past, and she'd been ignored, and she'd made a third one. So there's obviously something in it. And I was told, go and talk to her. She's in the kids' home in Cambridge. Go up there and see her, but we think she's lying. Anyway, I went up to see this girl. She was quite anti-police. She was quite hardened. And my personal life, and I will say it because it's relevant, since the year 2000, I brought up 4 children on my own. The older 2 were not my children, and due to the mother's lifestyle, which was very chaotic, they were going to put them in care. One of my informants had been brought up in a care system, and he said, whatever you do, do not let your kids go into care. If they go in, they will be abused. And take it from me, John, that's what will happen. But it was never an option anyway. So I got through on one wage, bringing up 4 kids and doing the work I was doing. I never went to look for the children. I didn't want anything to do with kids because I had enough to deal with, but they found me. It was like a calling. There's nothing I could do about it. It was where I kept getting drawn. And they liked me, and they would talk to me. And this girl told me what was happening. She'd been groomed. And another myth we're going to break here is that the one that was running this massive child prostitution was a woman. And the involvement of women is as equal as the involvement in men when it comes to paedophilia. You know, it's not men that wear milk-bottom glasses, live with their mum, you know, and that's sort of like the Thomas Hamilton type figure. You know, these are, they need to change the face of what a paedophile.
Play the whole thing. Go ahead and shut it down. I wish I had time to play this whole thing that I wanted to play for you guys, but he's just explaining the corruption within the child care system in the UK. So if you could pull up those second set of links that I sent you, Jared, real quick. Look up also for me Matthew 19 verse 22. Okay, guys, this is not just going on in the UK.
You know
okay?
what? I just wanted to say this. This weekend, I heard a story about a boy that was adopted. And at 2 years old, he was adopted. He was molested. He grew up. He molested his younger brother. And he is now locked up for life as a violent sexual offender because of what happened to him, because he was abused. And all of the people that are coming out and saying, well, yeah, I was abused, yeah, I was molested, I was molested, and that's what's going on. So I've seen the child pornography before you even get into this. I've seen it being made. And I don't talk about that a lot because that's not something I want to talk about. That's not something I don't want to give the devil that attention when in detail and in word. But what I say is I've watched them lured in and drawn in. I've watched them passed around. I've watched these children profited off of and passed around. And then when they're of no more good, monetarily good, they're tossed out like a common piece of garbage. And then they turn into drug addicts, alcoholics, prostitutes, demon-filled psychopaths in the mental hospital on psych medications and all this other stuff. And that's why we have that's why our entire globe, not just this nation, but every nation is in such distress. And that's why they're all so torn apart and broken. And every single time you walk by some little 12-year-old or 9-year-old in the store that's wearing little tiny shorts and a halter top, and they're broken. And you look in their eyes and you see that they're broken. And then you look at the ones that are doing it, and it's all of the people that are in power. Because when I was a transgender prostitute, I learned real quick that we were the rich man's fantasy and the poor man's lay. And then it got more intense because then men with breasts weren't enough weren't that abnormal anymore, weren't enough for them. And so then all of a sudden it had to be little boys and little girls. And then it went from just prepubescent to toddlers to infants, and that's what happens. And it's a downward spiral. And that's how you end up with child pornography rings and in foster care, because that's where they're doing it. They're giving Boy Scouts, the troop leaders can be homosexual. Youth leaders at some places of worship can be homosexual. Worship leaders can be homosexual. Foster care can be homosexual. And if you don't allow your child to get on hormones, then the state can step in and say, well, we'll just remove your child from your home and place your child in an LGBT-friendly foster home. So what they're telling you is, you won't let your child get on hormones, the state will take your child and will hand them over to the very predators that are going to rape their mind and their body. Sorry about that. Go ahead, Tom.
No. Hey, it's a sad reality of the world that we live in. And I want to say this real quick because we've only got a couple minutes. Justice in these cases, in our eyes, in our abilities, is impossible. Okay? Look at this headline right here, real quick. Riverside County, California finds child pornography ring in foster care, but does nothing about it. Don't have time to read this. Okay? The deeper I dig, the more research I do, and the more people that send me emails and on and on and on, and I'm overwhelmed. I'm buried in research. I'm buried with stories. I'm buried with abuse stories. I'm buried with people asking for help and needing deliverance and needing help. And I'm overwhelmed. We need more workers for the harvest. And it is impossible to get to these people, but that's okay, because God does the impossible. And I think Occupy 2019 is going to be a game changer. You know, I believe that we're really going to take that group and the other stuff that Coach has set up and the things that we have planned and taking this film and using it as a tool is going to be a game changer. We're going to wake people up. We don't only want to wake them up. We want to get them discipled and trained and put out there and taught how to do the same thing that we do and to reach people and to get good at evangelism. So anyway, guys, we are out of time for today. And guys, don't forget, David has a mission trip coming up in Atlantic City, New Jersey. And you can find out about that on which website, David? On alphabetmanlive.com. And I don't know his websites, but I mean, I don't know where all the info is, but yeah. It's on there, and you can support him on there. He's going to go out, and he's going to do exactly what he did in the film and what he's been doing. So, and he's going to model that for other people, and we can learn from what he's doing. So, guys, Thanks a lot for hanging out with us. God bless you. We will see you next time. Peace.